Welcome to the How Good It Can Get podcast, where we dive deep into the transformative journey from surviving to thriving. Join me, your host, Andrea Rice, on this empowering exploration of mindfulness, spirituality, and unlocking your full potential. Let me show you just how good it can get. And welcome back to the How Good It Can Get podcast, where we are continuing with episode 4 of our 5-part series on the ripple effect of anxiety. I'm joined once again by Chan Maragh, the co-founder of How Good It Can Get. Chan, thank you so much for coming back today to talk about such an important topic.
Yes, I'm excited to continue this series to help loved ones understand better the impact of someone suffering from anxiety.
Yes, and it has been really eye-opening for me because I was the one suffering from anxiety, and really you helped shine a light on the impact it has on people around us, because you've been there, you've been a support for people with anxiety, particularly your ex-wife, for many years. So it's an important topic because the people around the person suffering from anxiety, I think a lot of times they don't feel seen or validated, and their life is actually affected as well. And I think it's also important for the person suffering from anxiety to hear this, because I was so isolated during my many years of anxiety that it never crossed my mind how much my anxiety was impacting others.
And again, that makes sense because you are already struggling with overthinking and not knowing how to help yourself. I know that's the one thing you constantly want, yet you just don't know how to do about it. And then from my side, I want the same thing, and I can't help you. So it becomes a frustrating situation for both parties.
Yes, and last time you touched a little bit on communication between the person who is struggling with anxiety and their loved ones. So can you dive a little bit deeper into that, the communication and maybe some boundaries that need to be set?
Yes, communication is absolutely vital. You know, when you're trying to communicate, you have to approach it where it doesn't feel like an accusation. It has to be more I feel statements. For example, instead of saying you never do this, it would be more of I feel overwhelmed, where I'm always responsible for that particular. Let us figure out some way how we can share this responsibility or compromise where you're comfortable enough and it's not overwhelming to you.
Yeah, communication at that level can sometimes be difficult, but it is so important to be conscious of how you're communicating and to do it, like you said, in a way that people aren't feeling like it's an attack. When you use those I feel statements instead of you do this, it really is a much more beneficial way of communicating.
An anxious person receives information better when they're in a calmer state. That way they're more receptive to feedback and in a better headspace to being able to contribute. Even if it's just in small amounts. That also makes us feel that you're trying.
I think that's an excellent point that you make about, make sure you're delivering this information when the person suffering from anxiety is at a better state. You don't want to do it in the height of a panic attack, right? They're not going to be receptive to it.
No, not at all. This is where empathy plays a role, and that's from both sides. Because I now know you have to approach it from a very loving way where your partner feels supported and again, not being attacked. And you knowing when is a better time to talk to your partner about whatever the situation is. as you mentioned earlier, talking to someone that has a panic attack or in a state of overthinking, nothing is going to be received, which makes it frustrating for both. Here's where communication again comes in, and it would be helpful to set healthy boundaries where you communicate and set aside time to do certain things. For example, if you were going to take care of some financial obligations, let's say you're going to pay bills, you choose a time where, you know, a person suffering from anxiety is not stressed from a full day of work. So you don't want to do that as soon as that person gets home. You would wait until after dinner and everything is calmer, more relaxed. And sometimes you have to do it in small amounts. You can't pay all your bills. You understand? I may want to pay all the bills and get it done, while you can only tolerate paying 2 bills instead of 4. And so you communicate and compromise and know that you're paying 2 bills today and tomorrow you'll pay the other 3.
It's an important point. Setting healthy boundaries and communication. And you've hit on something there when you talk about dividing chores or tasks up into maybe manageable size pieces for the person suffering from anxiety. You're not taking that task away from them, which will maybe make them feel more anxious because they don't have control. I know suffering from anxiety, the one thing that I used to feel when I suffered from it is a lack of control. So it's important that they have control still over their life situation.
Right.
But it's like you're coming together to support that person and give them autonomy,
Right.
but not take away their responsibilities.
Right. That's exactly something that is helpful for them, as well as it helps me, because then I don't have to do those 2 bills. Well, it's small enough for someone with anxiety to take care of and manage. And like you said, it still gives them control, which is one of the big things, which becomes frustrating to them.
And it's not just paying bills, it's doing housework, it's going to the grocery store, it's taking care of the car inspection, right? All of these things can add to the anxiety of the person suffering. And if it's all put on the person who is not suffering, like we said in an earlier episode, that can build resentment. So communication is definitely key. Setting healthy boundaries, compromise, all very important factors. Okay, again, thank you, Chan. You bring such a unique perspective to this topic. And thank you all for tuning in. We are going to be back with part 5 of our 5-part series on the ripple effect of anxiety. And we will be talking a lot about helpful tips and things you can do to help your partner if they have anxiety, if you have a friend that has anxiety. So again, make sure you tune in for part 5 of our 5-part series. Thank you.
You've been listening to the How Good It Can Get podcast. Remember, the power to transform your life is within you. So stay mindful, stay empowered, and keep embracing how good it can get.